Hello folks, this is Sullla once again. Welcome to another video for League of Legends. This is going to be game 3 in a 3-game series of games between TSM, Team Solo Mid, and a new team to North America, a Chinese team called Team LMQ TC. And I'm afraid I don't know what LMQ stands for. This is actually being played as a team-ranked game under the normal ranked 5s matchmaking system. I've mentioned this in the previous videos in this series. If you want to go back, if you haven't seen them yet, feel free to go back and watch them. But basically, TSM and LMQ were both queued up for ranked 5s, and they happened to meet one another. They played a really nice first match, so they both queued up again and then ended up playing twice more. This is the 3rd game of their 3-game series. Not an official series. This is not from a tournament. This is basically just ranked 5s queue, but the games were very entertaining, so I wanted to go through. I cast the first 2 matches, and then this is the 3rd and final match. And as always with these replays, for whatever reason, they don't start right at the beginning. So let's cut that back to the beginning of the match, and we'll go from there. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why these don't begin at the normal start. One interesting thing is that LMQ has been on the blue side in all 3 of these matches, and Solo Mid has been on the red side in all 3 of these matches as well. First game was very good. Second match was not quite as close, but was still entertaining in its own right. There was some very good support play in that game, so if you'd like to watch it or haven't seen it yet, feel free to check it out. It's also on this channel. We'll go ahead and get the matchup set up down here on the bottom of the screen so we can see what everybody's playing here. A little bit different in terms of the lineups in this match, somewhat different champions coming out from the 2 sides. And we'll have to see what they come out with. And there we go. Now the 2 sides are set up. We've seen a lot of fairly high-level play, much better than what you would see in solo queue, certainly, between these 2 teams as they've been going at it thus far. And hopefully this 3rd match is going to be just as interesting as well. I don't want to spoil the first 2 for people who haven't seen them yet, but very entertaining games. And when I had heard that these games were being played, I just decided I wanted to go through and cast all 3 of these games. Go ahead and put them up on the channel. I did get oh, actually, wow, look at this Wei Zhao, the mid laner, mid lane Gragas for LMQ, in a bit of trouble right here, almost completely surrounded by Solo Mid. They do not realize he's in there, and oh, not a single player for TSM checking the brush. And Wei Zhao is just going to slip right out of there. Now he has been spotted by Bjergsen. Let's see if Wei Zhao can get out. He does have flash up, so he should be able to flash over the wall in a worst-case scenario. But I think he's actually going to be okay. Yeah, he loses about a 1/3 of his health, but he is just fine. And, wow, TSM probably wishing, if they've gone back and watched this replay, that someone had checked that brush. Anyway, this is the same start that we've actually seen in the other games. TSM invading the other team's blue at the start of the game. They did this in their other games as well. And the jungler for LMQ, no name, their jungle Lee Sin, has already gone and stolen the blue buff from TSM. So it's going to be a blue steal for each side, and then both junglers are going to head over to their red buff. In both of the previous games, TSM sent their duo lane up into top and ended up with a 2v1 up in top lane. And also, in both previous games, LMQ had their duo lane in the bot. So we have not had a straight 2v2 early on in the laning phase. We've had these 2 versus 1 setups in each game. So let's just look at these matchups real quick, shall we? Both top laners, or both non-mid solo laners might be more accurate, are actually back at base buying. They were doing jungle camps because both sides realized they were not going to get any gold or experience early on. For Team Solo Mid, it's Wild Turtle playing Jinx and X Special on Leona. They are matched up in this top lane against Ackerman, who's playing as Renekton for LMQ. In the other bottom lane, we have Vasily playing as Lucian and Moore playing as support Annie. And on the other side is Dyrus for Team Solo Mid. In the mid lane, we have Bjergsen playing as Orianna against Wei Zhao, who's playing as Gragas, and actually saw some Gragas play in an earlier match from Wei Zhao. And then the junglers, we have the odd one jungling as Olaf. In this game, he actually played Elise in the first 2 matches. And for the other team, oh, right now, Solo Mid looks like they want to go for this, but it is actually a 3 versus 2. Looked like they wanted to dive on Ackerman's Renekton, but unlike in previous games where No Name, the jungle Lee Sin for LMQ, has gone to the bottom lane to push the tower faster, this time he actually went to the top lane, and Solo Mid looking to dive right here, and they actually picked up a double kill right there. Bad time to look down at the bottom lane, was looking to see what was going on down there, but no, actually got a double kill, and it is a dream start for Team Solo Mid. 2 kills and the top tower here, so they're putting themselves in excellent position early on in this match. a huge early game advantage. It's going to be 2,000 gold lead at the 4-minute mark. Yeah, and I mean, it just feels like LMQ, which is a new team. This is not a team that had played a lot in China before coming over, but is a new team that's been formed, trying to qualify for the North American LCS. They were not around in time for the... Oh, wow, and look at this. The Blue Pill getting interrupted on Wild Turtle. He is not going to make it back to the base. He's going to have to try to get out of here, but No Name going to jump in. Wild Turtle does dodge the resonating strike, but I don't think he's going to make it out, and that was just an unlucky back timing on the part of Wild Turtle. His support, X Special, the support Leona, had already made it back to base. Odd One's Jungle Olaf had also made it back to base, but Wild Turtle had been maybe about 1 second slow to recall, did not make it out, and gives back a very unnecessary kill over to Team LMQ. They actually got about 500 gold from that if you count both the kill and the assist. So a pretty significant misplay right there from Wild Turtle. He's probably happy this is not a true professional game, because that would be a pretty big mistake to give away a kill like that and really let LMQ a little bit back into this game after such a disastrous start for them. In any case, so what I was trying to say before was that LMQ is a team that is new, was not a team that had a lot of experience in China. Actually, we'll get back to that. We do have a gank coming out in mid, but it looks like Bjergsen to Orianna is going to be okay. Yeah, this is a new team that's formed, trying to qualify for the North American LCS. They were not around in time to qualify for the spring split, but they're hoping that they'll be able to play in the Challenger League, the one that's sponsored by Coke, or Coke Zero, I think it is. Going to try to play in that. Wow, Wei Xiao getting very, very low right here, but there is a what is this, a Renekton gank coming in from top. Not going to lead to anything right there. So the little 3v2 action in mid. Yeah, LMQ trying to qualify for the summer split of the North American LCS. We'll see how they do. We did have a Korean team come over and try to qualify, Team Quantic, that didn't really work for them. They actually did not qualify. They had a really disastrous day in the qualifying tournament, and it didn't work for them. So we'll see. We'll see how LMQ ends up faring. But they have played pretty well in the first 2 games. Now, granted, this is, you know, not a true LAN environment or anything like that, and you don't know quite how seriously these teams are taking it on either side here. But LMQ has looked pretty good in the first 2 matches. And they seem like they've got at least a pretty good foundation. They've got the potential. If we're go into CLG, the Counter Logic Gaming, and talk about the potential. They have the potential to do well, but we'll see if they're ever able to realize that. Okay. Anyway, now we're back to more standard laning setup. So Ackerman's Renekton against Dyrus' Shyvana up here in top lane. Or actually, wow, I just now catching this. I had the bar set up. Thought that Olaf was going to be the solo top laner and that Shyvana was going to be the jungler, but nope, it's actually Shyvana in the solo lane. And it's Olaf in the jungle. Really should have caught that sooner. Anyway, still the 2 mid laners here. Looks like both mid laners have gone back to buy double Doran's Ring and a Chalice of Harmony for Bjergsen. Wei Xiao has double Doran's Rings and most of a Chalice of Harmony. Bjergsen seems to be ahead right now, getting the early edge in this matchup. In earlier matchups, Wei Xiao actually did a little bit better in some of the other games we saw. Here in bottom lane, it is, of course, Lucian and Annie. That is a very strong laning combination. We actually have a gank coming in right now from Odd One. He's going to miss the undertow, but X Special is going to hit on his Zenith Blade. However, the jungle Lee Sin, No Name, is here as well, so the fight's going to continue. It is a straight 3v3. X Special getting ignited. He will go down to the queue of Vasily's Lucian, picking up another kill right there. Yeah, that was a fight where TSM, I think, thought they had a 3v2 advantage, but they didn't. It was actually a 3v3. Went a little bit too far forward. Again, the great weakness of Leona has amazing crowd control, but her one weakness is once she goes into a fight, she really can't get out of that fight. And that was a situation where X Special did not have his flash up. You can see the flash is still on cooldown. He went in, he was committed to the fight, and he really was not able to get out of the fight afterwards. So nice support Annie play, and a nice use of the piercing, was it the piercing light? Yeah, the piercing light, the Lucian Q right there, for some extra damage. So even though Sullla mid got out to that really nice start, then the next 2 kills after that first play have gone over to LMQ, and they've managed to tighten this up quite a bit. They were down 2,000 gold, now down, what, about 700 gold, getting back in it a little bit. And they seem to be having some success down here in the bottom lane. Granted, Sullla mid can't play aggressively until Leona gets back here. We've actually got a little bit of action right now around the blue buff as well. Looks like TSM wants to give this over to Bjergsen. Let's see if Wei Xiao can potentially get the steal. He does have this warded, so he's going to be able to see when this gets low. And, oh, he does steal it! Wei Xiao picking it up with the explosive cask, stealing away that blue buff. That's a big play in middle lane because Gragas, with a blue buff advantage on Orianna, going to be able to shove... just cue the minion wave over and over and over again and get lots and lots of harass. That's a very big play, all set up by that ward that was dropped down by No Name, the jungle Lee Sin, a moment earlier by LMQ. So a very nice play right now. And LMQ kind of seizing the initiative back in this laning matchup. Kind of getting back in this one. Let's see, top lane, yeah, top lane pretty even right now. Ackerman has gone back to buy. He's got two-thirds of a Sunfire cape. Dyrus will presumably be going back to buy. Dyrus is sitting on about 1,300 gold, so he'll presumably be shoving this up and then going back to buy. But it's actually pretty even right now. And much of that early game lead that Sullla got off the early double kill has gone away. If LMQ can get this tower, they'll be in a very good position indeed. And No Name is here. He is not spotted by TSM. They do not know that he's there. So we might have a dive incoming down here in bottom lane. Moore is level 6, does have that Annie stun ready to go. And Wei Zhao is roaming down as well. So this could be a 4-man dive now in the bottom lane. Good ward coming out from the odd one. It is going to spot that, but TSM has no choice. They must give up this lane. So that tower goes down, and LMQ striking back now with the gold lead on the game, about a 500 gold lead. And again, much of that was set up by the jungle control that they wrested away down here with that blue buff steal. And oh, now Bjergsen getting caught in trouble. He's going to get stunned out by Renekton as Ackerman comes down from the top lane. Let's see if he's going to be able to get away from this. When's that speed up coming off cooldown? Just a couple more seconds. Yeah, going to use it to speed his way. And Bjergsen's going to make it out of this. But while that was going on, LMQ able to go in and steal the dragon. It was warded by TSM, but they really could not do anything about that. They were not in position to contest that. Their mid laner was running away for his life. Odd1 taking that time to push mid and get a little bit of lane pressure, but not able to stop that dragon. So that is now a just about 1,000 gold lead for LMQ, and they're looking quite strong here. Like I said, really seize control of the game back again after that horrible double kill at level 4. Or excuse me, at level 2 at the 4-minute mark, when things just seem to go disastrously wrong. So TSM's going to need to pull off some moves here to get back in this. They got the early lead, but haven't really been able to snowball and have now started to fall behind as some really nice plays have come out. In particular, No Name has set up a lot of stuff right now. With his jungle Lee Sin play. He's the one who really made that blue buff steal happen. He was the one who just got them that dragon. And let's see if Odd1 can make some plays happen. He was very effective on jungle Elise, but has been, well, I mean, he got the initial double kill, so obviously got that early kill underneath the tower, but since then has not been as effective here. The bottom lane of Vasily and Moore has also been doing a good job. Look at the farming edge that they have down here, 98 to 61. And again, part of that is due to the fact that Lucian is just a much stronger laner than Jinx. Part of that is also because they managed to get the kill on X Special, and then Turtle had no choice. He got zoned away while his support was dead. But a pretty strong showing here right now from the bottom lane of LMQ as well. In mid, we see the casket coming out, but Wei Zhao is going to miss on that Grog Assault. Knocked Bjergsen back, wanted to knock him towards him, so that Lee Sin could jump on him, but not able to make that happen, so that's a missed Grog Assault, and it looks like it's going to be a little bit more farming time in the mid lane. Bjergsen so far has been pretty limited in what he could do because he missed that initial blue. He was down a blue to Wei Zhao because it was stolen. Now he's down another blue because Wei Zhao has claimed his blue buff, but we might have a gank incoming here. Odd1 is setting up down here in the bottom lane. It's not worded. There's the ghost coming in, and now the flash going to come out. Going to flash over the undertow. Odd1 does have red buff, but Wei Zhao did a great job of dodging that initial one. Are we going to see an Orianna ult popping out? No, Odd1 has used Ragnarok, the Olaf ultimate, but it's not going to be enough to catch this. A pretty good escape from Wei Zhao. He does have to burn his flash, but he made it out despite the red buff on Odd1. Flashed over the axe toss, the undertow as it came out, and then just going to use the barrels to wave clear, go back to base, heal up, and look to return to lane. So some nice play right there. A good attempt at a gank, almost succeeded, did not quite come out on top. Again, the story is more really this bottom lane where Vasily, the fact that he got ahead early, has already finished his Bloodthirster. Go ahead and highlight it over here. Finished the Bloodthirster right there. Wild Turtle, because he's behind, not having much of a choice. He has not finished his Bloodthirster, just the BF Sword and the Vampiric Scepter, being forced to go off and farm jungle camps. So we have another gank coming out in mid. It's a nice Orianna ult coming out from Bjergsen, but the flash and the kick backwards from No Name, that should be enough to pick this up. Anti-auto attack, not going to get it. The roam coming out, and LMQ off of that advantage that they picked up in the bottom lane off that dragon and that early taking of the bottom tower, allowing them to open up the map and start roaming. A lot of roaming coming mid, so more heading towards the mid lane, not really needed in that fight, but still there to add a little bit of extra presence. And No Name making his presence felt, has been assisted on all 3 of the kills thus far. The flash, the dragon's kick backwards, the dragon's rage kick backwards. Very nicely done. and that's going to just put them that much further ahead. They're now a little bit over 1,000 gold ahead. The blue buff has respawned, but oh no, Bjergsen's dead. He's on his way back to base, so if LMQ can make a fast play on this blue buff, they might be able to steal it once again. They've got it worded, full vision on this blue, and Wei Xiao just sitting there waiting for a chance to steal it away. He'll have his explosive cask up again if he wants to make a play on this. And really, LMQ is setting up shop in these blue, what is it, in the blue side jungle of Team Sullla Mid. We might have a big fight here. We've got, what, 4 members of each team down here. Yeah, everybody except the top laners are down here in and around this blue buff, ready to fight for it, knowing that this is a crucial objective that both sides want. If Orianna gets denied another blue buff, it's going to put Bjergsen very far behind in mid lane. So let's see if he can get it, and it looks like LMQ wants to go for this, so as we said, could be a huge fight. Wild Turtle coming over has cleared out the minion waves. The Leona, oh, coming in, another Zenith Blade stun coming in, the Rocket coming out from Jinx as well, and let's see, can Sullla Mid pick up any kills here? They got a good initiation, but the follow-up damage is not quite there, and Odd One goes low. He will fall in the fight. Now No Name is the one who's still alive. He will die, so that's a 1-for-1. Both junglers going down in the initial part of this fight. And it looks like that's all for the moment. Nope, actually, Bjergsen and Wei Xiao still fighting back and forth, still contesting this. And Vasily going in right now. Bjergsen popping, looks like he popped the barrier right there, having to try to flash. He will go down. Vasily picks it up now. X-Special in trouble. Turtle coming over. More using the anti-stunts. Turtle goes low. He tries to escape over the wall. He's out for the moment, but the rest of the team just trying to run away. X-Special's low. And it looks like LMQ is going to win this extended blue buff fight and deny another Golem buff over to Team Sullla Mid. Not going to get this one, and just one more pickup. Yep, there it is. So Wei Xiao has gotten another blue buff. TSM has been denied 2 of their 3 blue buffs. You could see how important that was by how much focus was on that blue buff, but Wei Xiao comes out with it. LMQ wins the battle. They're able to pick that one up, and I just feel like a lot of that is due to the fact that their bottom lane has been able to get ahead. Let's check out the gold totals right here. Yeah, in the AD versus AD matchup, Lucian is 1,000 gold ahead of Jinx, and yes, Jinx will outscale him eventually, but right now in the mid game is when Lucian is very, very strong indeed. Bloodthirster and Phage finished. It feels like just in these sort of mid-game fights, Lucian has the advantage, and that was enough in a very close blue buff fight to give LMQ the advantage in that one. Anyway, we've got Dragon respawning in a couple seconds. Let's check in on the top laners who just AFK farming up here in top. Dyrus is building Sunfire Cape. Ackerman is also building Sunfire Cape, but Ackerman's actually finished his, so he's a little bit ahead. We'll check back on those guys. For right now, they're just going to be farming in top lane. What's more important is the 4v4 on the other side of the map, as both teams are ready for this dragon fight. So Wild Turtle pushing down here in bottom lane. Who is going to get the engagement? Good vision coming out from LMQ. They are able to see most of the players of Team Sullla Mid. There is a ward in this brush here. LMQ doesn't realize that they're spotted. Let's see. Is Sullla Mid going to come in and fight for this? They don't have position right now. There they go. They get a ward into the Dragon Pit, so he's going to win this Smite War. The barrel is dodged right now. The Leona ult comes down, does hit No Name. The Leona Zenith Blade's going to miss. It's a pretty good Gragas barrel. Going to knock X-Special's Leona out of the way. And Turtle, wow, Turtle gets taken out on the other side of the fight. Didn't even realize he was over there. And this is turning into a very bad fight for Team Sullla Mid. Odd One going to get jumped on. That's a double kill now for No Name. Bjergsen falls as well. That's a 3-for-0. X-Special trying to make it out. Oh, but the scumbag Dragon interrupts the recall. That's another kill. 4-for-0. And this fight has gone horribly wrong for Team Sullla Mid, as everybody's dropping. The only one still alive is Dyrus, who's on the complete other side of the map and is not even in this fight. The only thing saving this from being an ace, that is a 4-for-0 and a dragon pickup right there. It was a pretty decent initiation. X-Special tossed out his Leona ult, but only hit one person. The only person he hit was No Name. LMQ did a good job of splitting up so they weren't all caught, and then he did miss the follow-up with the Zenith Blade. I did not see the other part of the fight where Wild Turtle's Jinx got jumped on. It looked like No Name or somebody on the team just jumped on Turtle's Jinx, and he got blown up before the fight really started. Very difficult to win a team fight when your AD is dead before the fight even begins. Now Wei Xiao roaming up to the top lane. Dyrus having to use Dragon's Ascent, but the exploding casket knocks him into the wall. Dyrus on one hit. He will be taken out as Ackerman flashes for it. Now Ackerman should fall in retribution for this. Going a little bit too far. Looks like they're going to give this over to Bjergsen. That's a shutdown, so that's some much needed gold in TSM's pockets, but the damage has been done. More damage on that top tower, 1-for-1 traded. Everyone on LMQ going back to buy, but they did get the mid tower. They got the dragon. They are now out to a 5,000 gold lead, and that's from a 2,000 gold deficit very early on in the game. So a 7,000 gold swing, really in the span of about 15 minutes. They've swung 7,000 global gold. It's very, very impressive. So TSM going to have to dig deep here and try to come back from this one, because they've fallen into a pretty deep hole. And LMQ looking very strong. They decisively won that dragon engagement. And really, I feel like the key to this game has been the advantage in mid that was gained largely due to the jungle pressure on the bottom lane. No Name, I know that No Name's score is only 224, but he has put a lot of pressure on Team Sullla mid, particularly with his jungle invades early on. And then the bottom lane, Vasily and Moore getting ahead, despite the fact that TSM got those early kills. In fact, I mean, it's actually been 10-2 in kills after that initial double kill early on. But Vasily and Moore getting ahead, and then that allowing LMQ to steal the blue buffs away from Team Sullla mid, and then just continue snowballing. Anyway, Dyrus getting jumped on again. Wei Zhao able to roam up to mid. Another very nice casket. Dyrus almost has his ult back up. We'll be able to use Dragon's Descent as soon as that's up. The Ignite comes out. Barrel, and the Ignite, I think, is going to finish him off. Yes, just barely, but the Ignite will take it out. Dyrus not able to use his ult. Meanwhile, there is a bit of a fight down here in bottom lane. Looks like we've got, oh, the Flash and the Leona ultimate coming out. It's a good Orianna Shockwave coming out, too. That's 1 kill, 2 kills now. Double kill just with the Doctor ordered for Wild Turtle as he picks up a double kill, gets the Jinx passive, but doesn't really need it there. So a 2-for-1 in the bottom lane. X Specials Leona did go down, but he had a nice Flash Zenith Blade to set up that combo. Bjergsen following it up with the Shockwave on Orianna, and they're able to get some push in bottom lane, but while they're pushing there, oh, Wei Zhao going over the wall. Bjergsen doesn't want to be in this fight. He's going to lose half his health. He's going to be zoned away from this mid tower. This tower taking damage. The top tower also fell as well, and it looks like LMQ, despite, you know, suffering those deaths in the bottom lane, grabbing advantages elsewhere on the map in mid and in top. Turtle did take the bottom tower to claim a second tower for TSM, and we've actually had a high action game here early on, which in all honesty really does play to the strengths of the Chinese teams. What we know from, granted I do not watch the Chinese games very often, but from what I understand, the Chinese meta is much more focused on early game team fighting and a lot of action, as opposed to some of the other regions which are much more focused on sort of sitting around and farming and playing more passively, more defensively. The Chinese teams, the word is that the Chinese teams like to play very aggressively and get involved in lots of early team fights. So you see 12-6, 5 towers down at the 20-minute mark. That is definitely playing to the strengths of the Chinese teams, or at least it was playing to the strengths of teams like Royal Club that we saw in the World Championships. Again, LMQ don't know as much about them, but that was certainly the case for other Chinese teams. So it feels like this is playing more to their strengths here in this particular match. Anyway, the LMQ, like we said, has done a great job of invading, of stealing these blue buffs away. That has put Bjergsen behind. I don't know. He's gotten a blue buff now, but this is the first blue buff he's had the entire game, whereas Gragas has practically been perma-blued from start to finish. So largely responsible for much of the advantage there. Bjergsen was actually winning early on, but after he had his blues denied repeatedly, has fallen behind. Top lane is still a tickle fight between Dyrus and between Ackerman. Ackerman is ahead, though, because he has a full Spirit Visage finished, and Dyrus is just starting it. A lot of that's due to the global gold. Let's see. Ackerman going to get jumped on here by the odd one. Takes an axe, takes a, what is it, the True Damage Strike, what's it called? Reckless Swing from Olaf. And yeah, Dyrus has fallen behind, not really due to his own fault. I mean, you can see the minion kills are basically dead even, but, you know, you're down a couple dragons and a couple towers. You're going to be falling behind in the team gold right there. Right now, LMQ pushing up mid. Looks like they want to put some focus on this middle tower. They've already gotten about a quarter of this tower. Some good way. Oh, the anti-ult coming out right there, followed by the barrel. Bjergsen getting knocked back, but it's a little bit too aggressive for Moore. He's going to get taken down. And No Name going deep. He's going to get knocked back. He is running away. Over here, Turtle and Vasily dueling with one another. Dyrus jumps in, blocking a lot of the damage from the culling. Turtle is going to pick up the kill using his Jinx rocket. So that's a nice play from Team Sullla mid. Now Wei Zhao getting jumped on. Especially, though, might want to be careful. He's chasing pretty far away from the safety of his tower, but it's a great fight for TSM. They go 2 for 0. They defend the tower. Moore got the initial anti-stun. It looks like he used his flash tibbers on Bjergsen, but it wasn't quite enough to kill Bjergsen. Weren't able to finish him off. Doesn't have enough damage. Does not have any AP on Annie. They tried to follow that up with the exploding cask from Wei Zhao, and it was pretty good, but again, it wasn't quite enough to get the kill, and then No Name died super duper deep. What that really did was it left Vasily without a front line. Anyway, the fight's going in though. Leona ult coming out. Wei Zhao flashes away defensively. Ackerman is here though. Moore is also revived. That's going to get the kill on X Special again. Remember, Leona goes in very, very deep when she goes in. That's going to be one kill, but now can Sullla Mid get out of this? That zap's going to miss. Oh no, actually Moore does go down. Odd One's going to pick that one up. Ackerman now taking a lot of damage. The exploding cask is very good, knocking back members of Team Sullla Mid. LMQ's members are reviving. Dyrus is going to go down. Dragon is up, and now No Name jumping into the fight. That's one kill. Bjergsen uses his ult. Odd One very, very low. He is going to fall as well. Bjergsen, the only member of Team Sullla Mid, still alive. And it was a good fight for TSM, but I feel like they just stayed a little bit too long as members of LMQ managed to revive. That's a triple kill for No Name. That's an ace. A delayed ace. X Special has since revived, but everybody on LMQ is still alive. They are all up right now. Moore did die, but he is now revived, and they're making a play for Baron. TSM does not have any vision on this. I'm sure that they're thinking that the Baron's going to be in play, but the only one who can do anything is X Special, and let's face it, Leona, she's a good champ in a lot of respects, but Leona not a Baron stealer, and he's going to try to go in, but that's pretty much suicide, and yeah, well, predictable result. Anyway, the Jinx rocket comes in, but it is delayed, and that is a Baron for LMQ. Did look like a good fight for Sullla Mid. They pushed down the mid, but the problem was we're still early in the game. The death timers are not very long at 24 minutes, and they kind of got caught in an extended fight in and around this tower, and everybody just kept going down until finally everybody on Sullla Mid was dead, and the net result, LMQ picks up a Baron. So TSM, have to say, feel like they just stuck around too long, got caught in a fight they really didn't want to get caught in. They're going to grab the Dragon here, but Dragon is no Baron, and they have fallen. They were doing a good job of closing the gap, but they've lost most of that advantage. It's right back to a 5,000 gold deficit for Team Sullla Mid. LMQ out in the lead, and they've got that Baron buff to play around with, so the bonus attack damage, ability power, mana, and health regen for them to play around with while they've got that 4-minute Baron buff. So let's sit down and see what LMQ can do while they've got this Baron. That's going to make this top lane not very even. Shyvana wins this matchup the longer the game goes, but Renekton is way ahead in items and as Baron buff, so I don't think Dyrus can really trade with Ackerman right now. Again, Dyrus is down a Sunfire, down a, most of his Spirit, about half a Spirit Visage, and a Chain Vest. So Dyrus probably can't win this, even though Shyvana normally would start to win as the game goes on. Checking in on our mid laners, Bjergsen has finished his Unholy Grail. He also has a needlessly large rod. Odd One having to pop the Ragnarok, the Olaf ultimate, as he gets caught over by the blue buff, which will be stolen yet again by LMQ. Their blue buff control has been outstanding in this game. Wei Zhao has finished his Unholy Grail, also finished a Death Cap. Looks like he's going towards a Void Staff with that Blasting Wand. So again, the same builds on Orianna and Gragas. Gragas is just further ahead because his team is winning. The bottom inner tower going down very, very easily. No real contest from Team Sullla Mid. They weren't really in position to contest that. But yeah, have to give that one up without a fight, and that's not good. You never want to be giving away towers. So now it's up to almost a 7,000 gold lead for LMQ. In the AD matchup, we actually have both the Bloodthirster and the Trinity Force finished for Vasily. He's got most of his Last Whisper done as well. If we check over on Wild Turtle, he's got his Bloodthirster, Static Shield, and Last Whisper. Actually, Turtle's pretty fed as well. In all honesty, Turtle's pretty strong too. Not quite as much. Anyway, the mid inner tower goes down as well. Now LMQ rotating smoothly up to the top tower. Just going to try to look to take all of the inner towers, and then they can look to try and get some pressure on those base towers. Will Team Sullla Mid try to fight for this tower? I'm not sure if they're going to or not. Anyway, Dyrus ran forward aggressively, but there's no follow-up. The rest of TSM not there. They choose not to fight for that. So that is all three inner towers cleanly picked up by LMQ. Sort of a textbook way to use your Baron. And now they've still got just about a minute left to try and go for one of these towers. We'll see it. They look like they want to fight for this top tower. That's a dangerous move. This is where TSM is quite strong with their Leona and Orianna ults. If they combo them together, this is a great place for TSM to fight. Very narrow passageway. So like we said, if they get the Shockwave into the Leona ult, into the Jinx rocket, some kind of combination of that, or they put the Orianna ball onto Dyrus' Shyvana as he dives in. That's also a very common wombo combo. You put the Orianna ball onto Shyvana, she dives into the team, and then you use Shockwave. But they look like they want to go for this, and the Exploding Cast doesn't really hit. Leona ult goes out, doesn't get the stun, but does a lot of damage. The Jinx rocket hits Vasily, does a lot of damage, forcing him away. This is a pretty good defense by Team Sullla Mid. I think they're going to get LMQ to back off here. Just not sure the TSM wants to run out away from their tower. Yeah, the Gragas exploding cask. Wei Zhao didn't really get a good casket there. Not what he wanted, at least. But again, the advantage of Baron buff. They've still got it for about 10 more seconds. They are regenerating health very quickly. That is the edge of Baron. It lets you continue pushing. And let's see it. LMQ looks like they still want to push this. The tower is very, very low right now. Just needs 1 or 2 more hits to go down. But that Baron buff is just about to go out. Leona going in. X-Special goes in very aggressively. He gets blown up instantly. The Annie ult, very, very good. Locking up Odd One and Dyrus right now. And TSM getting very low. It's a nice shockwave. Hits 4 members of LMQ. But the members of Team Sullla Mid are just dropping on the health bars. They need more protection for Wild Turtle. The tower has fallen right now. Chomper's going out. Wei Zhao picks up the kill. The exploding casket going to take down Wild Turtle. And that's 3 members of TSM down. That inhibitor is very exposed. Dyrus and Bjergsen, the only one still up for TSM. Let's see if they can pick this up. Vasily going in very aggressively. He will get the kill. Dyrus, the only one still up, but everybody on LMQ is very low. Could we see a Shyvana pentakill on this? That's 1 kill. Can he get a second one? Gonna have to flash away. Can he get back into the fountain? Dyrus is going to survive. X-Special, the only one now up with health, but Odd One is now revived as well. He's got the home guard running in right now, and the Leona ult coming back up. Ackerman going back in. He wants that inhib. Is he going to get it? Yes, he does get the inhib, just barely as he falls. So LMQ just taking dreadful, dreadful damage in that fight, but it looks like they are going to get the inhib, and most of the team going to get out. 3 members of the team surviving. So, oh, the Jinx Rocket almost coming through. That would have killed Annie, I'm pretty sure, if that had hit Annie. Annie only on about 400 health and 42 magic resist. 69 armor, so I'm pretty sure more would have gone down right there. But it's not going to be enough to get that kill. Unfortunately for TSM, there isn't really too much up in the way of objectives, so there's not a lot they can do in terms of counter push. They are going to look to take this blue buff away, which will make it so Wei Zhao isn't able to just spam the Gragas barrels. There is this bottom tower. They might look to rotate down there. They're looking for the red buff, but that has already been taken by Vasily's Lucian, and he's going to try to wave clear the spot. The bottom tower has lost about half its health just to minions. X-Special thinking a kill over the wall there is not able to hit the Zenith Blade. Vasily is going to dash out of there with the Lucian E. So overall, that was a great Baron push for LMQ. It was an absolute bloodbath at the tail end of that fight, but they got all of the inner towers. 1, 2, 3, all the inner towers down, and an inhibitor tower and an inhibitor. So they got 4 towers and an inhib off of that Baron push, and they have extended their gold lead from 5,000 out to 10,000. A great use of their Baron. I mean, it was very close to being a disaster. TSM was actually quite close to turning around some of those fights, but LMQ able to get the kills that they needed in those fights. They were able to prevent Jinx from getting much in the way of resets. They blew up X-Special when he went in. This is what tends to happen when Leona falls behind in a game. She isn't tanky enough. She just dies very, very quickly. And right now, the red buff almost stolen away. Odd One is able to get that one. Did not actually smite it. He does not have smite up, but did manage to get it, I believe, with one of his axe tosses with an undertow. So the red buff not stolen away, but red buff did not go to Wild Turtle's Jinx, and that's the person that TSM would like to have it on. In any case, we do have the Dragon back up. There it is. Dragon is back in the pit. Baron respawning in 3, 2, 1, and there we go. There's our favorite worm. You really should have a Santa hat on for Christmas, but not in this version of Summoner's Rift. Not right now. So let's see what LMQ. They've got many, many options here. Oh, that looks like they might be catching out. X-Special just needs to get that Ruthless Predator stun. And no, not going to get it. Popping the Tiamat right there. Yeah, the offensive build on Ackerman's Renekton. You have seen people going that build. You generally want to build Renekton more tanky than more damage, but it can be done. And Wei Zhao going to go ahead and repay the favor, steal that blue buff right back. Pure Bjergsen has only gotten 1 blue the entire game, and denying him those blues has really hurt. I mean, look at the stat line here. 4-0-10 on Gragas, 1-5-7 on Orianna. Has really won that mid lane matchup. But again, I do feel like that was mostly due to the jungle pressure. Bjergsen was handling himself fine in lane earlier. It was just when he started to lose his blues and when he started to get camped in mid by virtue of the fact that bot lane was losing. That's when he really started to get turned around in that matchup. So, you know, you look at the stat line and just say, well, Bjergsen was awful, but I don't think that was really the case. A little bit more complicated than that. Anyway, LMQ pushing on the mid tower right now. Remember that inhib's still down in top, super minions in that top lane. So TSM's going to have to try and defend this lane right here while they wait for their inhib to respawn up there in top again. They do have really good AoE team fighting potential underneath these towers. Like we said, they can use Shyvana plus Orianna. They can use Leona plus Orianna. They've got the Jinx Rocket, which is very good for anyone in a packed mass. And yeah, I mean, worst comes worst, they can always have Olaf ghost and run in with his ult too. That's another way to deliver the Orianna Shockwave ball. So anyway, the inhib is about to respawn. LMQ, how aggressive do they want to be here? How aggressive are they going to be in diving in on this tower? Remember that the inhib towers do regenerate health very slowly, but they do regen it, so they can't sit around forever. They can't just sit there picking their noses or doing whatever it is. That tower will eventually respawn. Anyway, the inhib is back up, so LMQ has another objective to go after. Going to be much, much harder for TSM to fight right here under that tower. Some nice poke coming out on both sides. Bjergsen got a nice little damage. Anyway, right there, the shockwave hits. It looks like the focus is on Moore. There's the shockwave hitting 2 members of the team. Oh, Moore does go down, does not get the anti-ult off. That's a double kill for Wild Turtle. This is a great fight right now for TSM. Really good initiation. They locked up Moore and they just bursted down Annie. Note that Tibbers, note the little indicator, Tibbers was not used at any point in time in that fight. They just killed Moore before he could get his anti-stun off, and then they followed that up with a kill on Ackerman. Split up the team pretty nicely. So that's a big win for Team Sullla Mid. That's going to give them time to shove out the lanes. It's closed the gold gap from 10,000 to 2,000. And I don't think that they're going to be able to... They might be able to make a play for Dragon. Baron is probably too much of a pipe dream at this point, but they relieved some of the pressure on their base, and that was 2 really nice kills. Now, if they can just do that, they probably need to do that maybe 2 more times to get back in this game. Oh, wow, they actually spot Wei Zhao right there, but the follow-up is not present. And let's see what they choose to do. They've got a little window of opportunity. Ackerman is now back up for LMQ. Actually, the pings are coming out for Baron right now, and it's actually not warded by LMQ. They don't have vision right here. Instead, LMQ is over here at Dragon. They are going to claim that, so that's an extra 1,000 gold. But TSM making the aggressive play, and you know, I actually like this play because they're so far behind. When you're behind, you should be more aggressive in your plays. But it looks like it might not work because Turtle's going to get jumped on. And now the jig is up. LMQ is aware of this. Turtle going down. No Name very, very low. Can they finish him off? He's going to get locked up with Leona, and he will fall. And now this fight's continuing. But TSM does not have their AD present, and LMQ does. So one of the big damage dealers is not here for TSM. That means this is probably not going to be a great fight for them long term. And indeed, the members of TSM are starting to drop. Shockwave not really hitting. That wasn't a very good shockwave by Bjergsen. He will fall to Vasily. And yeah, it is a 4 for 3 right now in favor of LMQ. About to be a 5 for 3 because X Special is not making it out of here. Yeah, there it is. That is a 5 for 3 ace for LMQ. So that Baron play didn't work for TSM, but in all honesty, I kind of like it just because when you're 10,000 gold behind, you've got to take risks. And you know, if they had gotten even 3 more seconds before LMQ got there, I think they could have gotten that Baron. So the play didn't work. You know, it backfired. TSM's now fallen further behind. But if you just turtle in your base, no pun intended as Wild Turtle responds, if you just turtle in your base, a good team is going to eventually slowly push you out of the game. You've got to take some risks when you're behind. Anyway, Turtle looking to duel with Vasily, but Vasily does have barrier up. He's going to pick it up with the Lucian W, the Ardent Blaze, yeah. Able to pick that up. This is his longest range skill shot. Aside from the culling has good range too, but this one, it does have more range than the Q, the Piercing Light, and was just able to finish off Wild Turtle with that one. Turtle did not have his barrier up. Vasily did have his barrier up and was able to use that to pick up the kill. So that's going to put TSM in a very uncomfortable position. They are in a 4v5, and LMQ is on the Baron. TSM does not have vision of this Baron either due to the pink ward that swept it out. Let's see. Can LMQ pick this one up down to 1,000 health? Yeah, there it is. Going to grab it with that smite. So nicely done by No Name. They've got the Baron. They've got a 12,000 gold lead. And this is looking pretty good for LMQ right now. They are going to have to make some big mistakes to lose this one. Dyer's doing a little bit of counter jungling. Going to take this red buff. He probably realized he had no real chance to steal the dragon away. So going to take the lizard instead. But TSM has their top inhibitor down. Their mid inhib, yeah, their mid inhib is almost healed back up to full, but they are going to be fighting a team that's 12,000 gold ahead and has Baron. Oh, and by the way, yeah, another blue buff steal. Ackerman's going to take this one, but Pure Bjergsen is a sad puppy. He has not had blue buff much this game. Does have, is on a pretty strong build. Check this out. He's got, has finished quite a few items here, but the problem is he's behind Wei Zhao, who has finished a Deathfire Grasp and has another void, another Needlessly Large Rod as well. It's 790 ability power. That's a lot of damage. And where is Vasily in his Lucian build? Yeah, he's got the Trinity, the Bloodthirster, Last Whisper, Infinity Edge, and the Bilgewater Cutlass. So is on 5.5 items. Just needs a little bit more for Blade of the Ruined King. Unless he's going for Hextech Gunblade, but let's be honest, he's probably not building the Hextech Gunblade in this one. Turtle also quite fed as well. well, but not quite as much gold. Anyway, looks like LMQ wants to push on the bottom tower. I agree with this choice. This is the tower that's furthest away from Baron. It's also furthest away from the top lane where the super minions are pushing. Bot tower is the best one to focus on right now. If they can get this bot tower, the game will probably be over. Can't see TSM holding out for long with 2 inhibitors down against a team that's this far ahead and has the Baron buff. So TSM's going to have to do some kind of miraculous play to try to hold this one. And let's see what they choose to do. Wow, Dyer's taking a lot of damage, gets stunned by Annie under the tower. He just gets blown up so fast before the fight even begins. The casket just causing mass chaos. Odd One gonna get shielded by Bjergsen. Cannot be disabled. Can he make it back into the fountain? Oh, the last tick of Ignite takes him down. That's a 2 for 0 for LMQ. And even though Weijag took a lot of poke from Bjergsen's Orianna right there, I just don't see any way that they can hold these towers. It is a 5-on-3 right now. And TSM has lost their full tank line, so they really have no one to protect them. I mean, yes, Turtle and Bjergsen do a lot of damage, but there's no protection. Oh, the anti-stun coming out. Bjergsen just melts like candy in the sun. X Special taking all kinds of harassment as well. Turtle actually picks up a kill with the Jinx rocket, gets excited, runs away, but Jinx, no protection whatsoever. And oh my god, the damage from Vasily. Just taking down Turtle so easily. So that is an ace. The Nexus tower is going down, and it looks like LMQ is going to take game 3 of this matchup. So TSM picking up the first 2 games in the series. Oh, the semi-rage quit at the end. No, probably not, but leaving a little bit early there. Yeah, so LMQ picks up game 3. TSM won the first 2 games. LMQ picks up the 3rd one in this informal 3-game set. So in the end, TSM takes 2 out of 3. LMQ takes the 3rd match. Very entertaining games. Again, I'm a little bit surprised. After TSM got the early double kill in top lane at like the 4-minute mark, I thought they were in great shape, but really great sort of counter push back from LMQ, making stuff happen in the jungle. I thought that No Name was very good in this one. I know he died 5 times, but don't get fooled by that. Was really involved in a lot of key early game fights, stealing the blue buff. And then Vasily and Moore, they have a lane bullying combination in Lucian and Annie, and they did exactly that. They took advantage of Jinx's early game. There was the one counter gank by No Name in bottom lane, the 3v3 fight early on. X Special got killed, and that one kill was kind of enough to put Vasily and Moore ahead, and they snowballed the game from there. Top lane was just a farm fest. Ackerman and Dyrus weren't really involved in the game while it was being decided. It was really the 4v4 on the bottom side of the map that decided this one. So, in any case, an entertaining 3-game set. I hope people enjoyed this. Hope people enjoyed watching these matches and listening to some of the commentary. Anyway, Merry Christmas to all. Happy Boxing Day to those who celebrate it. Happy holidays to everyone. Hope you guys are having a great week. And hope everybody will stick around and see some more of these games in the future. Anyway, until next time, see you guys later. Take care.